What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about something quite different, quite unique. Today I'm going to be addressing essentially a Disney Channel kids show called The Proud Family. And the reason why I'm going to address this show is because recently, right, there has been a lot of backlash and just controversy from white Americans because this kids Disney show essentially had a piece, a segment, and in this segment and piece, it talked about how slaves, right, Black American slaves, essentially built the United States. And white folks and white Americans were so triggered by this clip that they literally made it viral for weeks, right? And it's so crazy because I just recently read an article, right, in which it talked about how Abraham Lincoln essentially tried to send freed black slaves back to Africa, and Abraham Lincoln played a large role in essentially establishing the colony of Liberia. And it's like when reading this article, I was like, yeah, I already know this history, but at the bottom, you had comments from white folks that were triggered, like, "Oh my God, this is critical race theory." And see, that's when I realized that when you had white people that were essentially screaming about critical race theory, really what that meant was Black history that makes them look bad. Any piece of Black history that essentially makes white Americans look bad, they call that critical race theory. And so it's literally gotten to a point to that even when the kids Disney Channel show is talking about factual history, they attack it. But before I play the clip for y'all to hear, let's get into our intro. So in this clip right here, that you gotta put right, these Black teenagers with a quote unquote white friend, right, are going to essentially talk about how slaves built the country, and everything they say in this clip is 100% true. Now, for those who may not know, the Proud Family essentially was a Disney show that I think was very popular in the early 2000s, and this is a reboot, right? And of course, this was getting no attention because once again, it's a kids show. But they made this show viral because of this clip. But let's go ahead and play so y'all can hear it.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. Tilled this land from sea to sea to sea. First there was rice, tobacco, sugar cane. Then Whitney did his thing and cotton became king. And we were its soldiers, 4 million strong, fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's slaves. Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build this. Slaves built this country. And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering. And continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not atoned for. Slaves built this country. Not only field hands, but carpenters, masons, blacksmiths, musicians, inventors built cities from Jamestown to New Orleans to Banneker, Washington. 40 acres and a mule. We'll take the 40 acres, keep the mule. We made your families rich. From the southern plantation heirs to the northern bankers to the New England ship owners.
Yeah, and the crazy part is this is the clip that white folks are triggered about. A clip from a Disney cartoon has white conservatives in their pennies, have the pennies in a bunch of line. And I'm like, wait a minute. What did they say that was wrong, though? Now, here's the thing. Look, I understand that it's a kid's show, right? So I don't even watch the show. But my thing is the fact that so many white adults are triggered by basic history. But see, I believe that the reason why so many of them were so triggered by it because it's this fear that this is being targeted to white kids, right? I believe that a lot of this critical race theory stuff is not just about them trying to quote unquote, get rid of the white guilt and whitewash America's history. It's also this fear that if the white children were to know the true history as to how the country was founded, they may not have the same patriotism they have. Because look, the only way you can worship the founding fathers, have all this pro-American pride, is if you whitewash the country's history. And if you tell a white kid, hey, this is what your ancestors did, everything you benefit from, right, was because your ancestors were a bunch of evil people who committed atrocities. I'm like, like the worldview is gonna change. Let's keep it real here. And I believe that because of this fear of the white children knowing the truth, and because of this fear of them having to face the white guilt, this is the reason why a children's cartoon talking about slavery in America's history had the pennies in the bunch. And just to bring some facts to the video, people need to remind people have to remember, right? The cotton industry in America, right, was a large part of America's GDP. In fact, I will say, if you guys want to know more, I want you guys to go and get the book Empire of Cotton. Okay, Empire of Cotton. This book is pretty long, right? We don't have the time to go over in this video, but the book essentially, in my opinion, it breaks down very well just how much the cotton industry and how much slavery, was an integral part to America's economy, and how much slavery played a large role in America as we know it today. Okay, so when these here want to sit here and pretend as if slaves were not a big part, if not a majority part, in America as we know to them, it's being disingenuous. But see, here's my thing, right? You guys running from this history does not help you, because when I hear them, white folks say this stuff, it's like you guys think that by whitewashing the history, ignoring the history is gonna help you. It's not. Okay, it's not. It's always going to come back. And the crazy part is, the more and more you try to quote unquote sweep it on the rug, the worse it's gonna be on the road, because eventually, when that rug gets pulled, there's gonna be so much dirt that was swept under them that it's literally going to suffocate your white kids. And that's kind of what's happening, right? America has swept so much dirt under the rug that now the rug is being pulled up. You guys can't deal with the dirt. It's suffocating you, right? It's like the white guilt is being amplified to over 1,000 right now. I know that's how I feel to y'all. Okay, but see, the problem I have here is that these are the same people that love talking about how we're all Americans. These are the same people I love talking about how I'm colorblind, right? You know how white folks say they're colorblind, right? I'm colorblind. We're all Americans, right? We're the same. Pull yourself by your own bootstraps. This is what we hear a lot. But my thing is, if we're all Americans, why do you have a problem with Black American history? If we're all the same, why do you keep talking about Chicago? It's like, if you're colorblind, right, why were you guys so obsessed with Barack Obama, right? Because if you're colorblind, Barack Obama should be another president. But we know how a lot of white folks, especially white conservatives, react to his presidency. Let's be honest here. And in my opinion, this is a disingenuousness that gets me angry. Okay? Is that it's gotten to a point where telling the truth about white Americans and what they've done is now considered critical race theory. Telling the truth about all the evil things that white folks have done is now considered, you being anti-American. It's crazy. But see, they will do stuff like this, but then when Black Americans or Black folks, separate themselves, right, and start to focus on their own identity, then it becomes, you guys are being divisive. I'm gonna give you a good example, y'all. Okay, just recently, you had essentially so when you had a Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl essentially had someone sing what they call the Black National Anthem, right? The Black National Anthem. It's called Lift Every Voice and Sing. That's what's being called now. And white conservatives, white folks were triggered. Oh my God, how could you sing the Black National Anthem? We're all one nation. But I'm like, you guys are being disingenuous again. 99% of the time, you make it very clear to Black Americans, to Black folks, that they're not equal to white. That quote unquote you guys play that you Black folks are essentially subordinate to white Americans. You make it very clear to separate them. That's the reason you talk about Chicago. That's the reason why you guys constantly talk about a Black on Black crime, right? Because you guys make it very clear there's a separate group in America, and they're not a part of of what we consider the United States. You guys are an underclass. Okay, fine. So then when Black Americans say, okay, we're a separate group, now all of a sudden they're being divisive. But you know, y'all, I'm going to make another video covering the Black national anthem and all the white folks I was with. But at the end of the day, it's getting annoying, it's getting triggering that we've gotten to a point that just literally saying the truth about what white folks did is now getting them triggered. Okay? And I personally believe this is a result of the dying Western hegemony. When Europeans were on the upswing and they were just, I'm like, dominating everyone, right? You know, they were taking over North America, taking over South America, taking over Africa, taking over Asia. They were able to use their hegemonic powers to whitewash their history. But now that the center of power is moving from the West towards the East, and the global South is having more and more of a say when it comes to global politics, right? And when it comes to the world stage, right? Because the center of power, is starting to weaken within the West. All of this whitewashing that Western Europeans and now white people have done across the world is starting to be undone, right? Because they are losing the white Western hegemonic power on the global stage, all of the dirt that they have swept under the rug is starting to come out, okay? It's not that we're quote-unquote revising history. It's just that you guys whitewashed so much of history. You guys swept so much under the rug that when we finally take off the rug, right, the amount of dirt is so much, it's literally suffocating you, all right? But let's finish the video.
The founding fathers, former presidents, current senators,
the Illuminati, the New World Order,
slaves built this country. We had Tubman, Turner,
Frederick D.
Didn't they say Lincoln freed the slaves?
But slaves were men.
And women. And only we can free ourselves. Emancipation is not freedom. Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, public schools feeding private prisons where we become slaves again. As we celebrate Juneteenth for the umpteenth time, our account is still outstanding. Because this country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. And we demand our 40 acres and a mule. Bump that. You can keep the mule.
Keep the 40.
We're taking our freedom.
Yeah, and that's the video there, guys. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna leave it there. You guys tell me in the chat what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? And with that being said, y'all, make sure to like, share, subscribe, hammer out.